Let's talk about people pleasing. Originating at a young age, we become dependent on external approval to fit into society. We learn to not scream and cry, to not hit each other, to not slobber on each other. It's a mechanism that we need to survive. But as we age, we have to be careful what extrinsic reward mechanisms the ego mind develops. Because if we're not careful, over time we can go down a slippery slope where a large portion of what we say and do is in the name of getting validation from others. We say yes when we want to say no, we let other people push our boundaries, we don't speak up from the fear of being disliked, all in the name of feeling loved, complete, and whole. But why is this a problem? Well, if others hold the key to our happiness, by seeking external approval, we're chasing true happiness like a pig chasing a carrot on a stick. We never get it. And when we don't get it, oftentimes we get bitter and resentful, anxious and depressed.
Okay, so this is clearly a problem, and the solution is actually super counterintuitive. What we need to do is to take our external need for validation and make it completely intrinsic so that we reward ourselves as opposed to giving up our individual sovereignty to other people. That way we don't come from a place of lack and we come from a place of abundance. With that in mind, let's now look at 3 advanced solutions to this problem, this sneaky pathological problem that a lot of us deal with, to get to the root of it once and for all. So one of the strongest antidotes to overcoming people pleasing is learning to find happiness that's within your own being, that isn't dependent on external things. And that simply means switching off. Just stop. Give yourself permission to switch off the ego mind's seeking mechanisms, if only for short periods in the day. Stop listening to music, podcasts, audiobooks, and justifying seeking mechanisms as productive. Just breathe in the majesty of your own conscious experience right now. The very fact that you are alive. Engage with your senses and soak them up like a sponge. And just be. This is something I've incorporated more and more into my daily life, when I'm driving, when I'm eating, when I'm doing mundane tasks at work. And while I've only made this more of an intentional focus recently, I can already feel tremendous benefits in relinquishing that need for external validation. Happiness found internally rather than needing it from others. And that brings me to my second tip, which is stop telling others what it is that you're doing. Ironically, I'm showing myself partaking in an act of kindness here, but as part of that wiring for validation, we share so much of what we do. And when you pause and ask yourself why, I think what you'll find is it's often coming from a place of, look at me, look how generous I am with my time, or look how cool I am. This is something I've had to contend with producing these videos for you guys. I'm constantly asking, why do I want to share these personal stories? Is it because I want validation, getting likes and metrics that are sort of like that nice little dopamine hit?
But also do me a solid and consider liking the video for the algorithm.
Sometimes I probably do from time to time and it's really subtle. But the invitation is there for you guys that the next time you do something nice for another human, or even just to enjoy a funny cat video on YouTube, instead of posting it on Facebook or doing anything like that, just sit and bask in your own awesomeness as a human rather than having to share it. When you catch that impulse, just stop and soak up that awesomeness to decondition your need for external validation. Now, if you follow this channel, you're probably interested in understanding the mind at the deepest level, or at least have some interest in turning your attention inward. And if there's one root solution to claim back individual sovereignty, it's the realization of your true nature through spiritual practice.
So recently I had an incredibly powerful conversation with a 96-year-old retired Anglican priest who left a really lasting impression on me. And I was quite surprised, I thought he would have this sort of relaxed, casual conversation, but he immediately got really deep with like a sense of urgency, talking about the Murdoch government is in charge of the media and how we are constantly tainted with so much poison through TV and media, and how the current state of the world through climate change and all of that sort of stuff is really heading in a negative direction moving forward. But then he said something really important to me. He sort of looked off diagonally away from me, and I could see through his sunglasses these sort of really deep eyes, and they started welling up with tears. And when a 96-year-old man starts welling up with tears, it's pretty serious. And he said, our only hope is to wake up as a species when we turn our attention inward. And that really struck me. So why is this related to people pleasing? Well, because I think when we realize that there is no other, that there is no self to begin with, when you turn your attention inward, this is the truth of your experience. Through self-inquiry, through mindfulness practice, through whatever spiritual practice you do, this is so important to eliminate that egocentric mind so that you can come from a place that isn't limited by fears, that authentically speaks through your values, that isn't self-constrained. That is a true way to overcome people pleasing at the deepest level. So keep practicing, and if you aren't already, start now. Once you've started working on all of these things, the next important thing to do is to start telling the truth in all situations, which you can find out the importance of doing that in this video here. But much love, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll just take in this beautiful afternoon by myself here.